I'm honored to have my first guest, a fellow Substacker. He writes the publication Train, Adapt, and Endure. I'd like to welcome Mr. Alan Muckbell. Alan, please introduce yourself and give a
Thank you.
brief history
Am I
background.
really your first guest? Wow. Okay. Well, thank you. That's such an honor. My name is Alan Magbell. Thank you so much, Elaido, for inviting me to do a live with you. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fun conversation.
My pleasure, Alan. To get started, Alan, give us a brief synopsis of your martial arts background. What got you into it, and what keeps you going?
Um, okay. When I was younger, 7, 8 years old, I skipped a grade in primary school. And when you are 2 or 3 years younger than most and smaller,
Right.
you get picked on a lot. So I got picked on and teased and bullied, not to the level that bully is today. I think it was mostly teasing, but I didn't have the emotional maturity to understand that it was just teasing, and
Right.
I suffered a lot because of that. And because I was smaller, I couldn't physically do anything about it. I felt, um, fast forward to early college days, I was working in McDonald's. I was the shift manager, let's say the swing manager, we call them. And one of my team guys was, buff and strong and fit. And I was like, oh, what do you do? And then he's like, oh, I do karate. I'm like, okay, how does karate turn you into this? Like
Right.
it makes sense, right? So we start talking, became friends. And my supervisor back in the day was also big and buff, but he did the same style karate. They knew each other, uh, but he also lifted weights. So I'm like, okay, there's something there. In my head, back then, lifting weights was, become big and become a bodybuilder and, have huge muscles and like we, the knowledge that you can get just strong with lifting weights without having to look like, Mr. Olympia, and getting to Mr. Olympia is something else, right? That you need help, not just weights. Um, no disrespect to those guys. I mean, they do a lot of effort and sacrifice to get those bodies, but it wasn't for me. But when I met those two, I was like, interesting. So they both do karate. That's the common denominator. So I'm gonna start. And the kid that was there, my dad has a dojo, so it's nearby. We live relatively close from each other. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give it a shot. And so I went, and I found that I had some skill from the first day or second day. We were doing some pad work, and I felt some strength and some power behind those strikes, and that just clicked in my head. I was like, "Oh, something I'm good at. Something I can do long term." And then little
Right.
by little, just grew into the style. Competed several times, local, regional type of tournaments. I did one international tournament, and that was enough. That was enough for
Right.
me because I was not ready. I felt it, and it's not. It wasn't my thing really to want to continue competing and get to world championship or whatnot. I was more focused on studying, on my career, and I was dating my wife, and I was focused on her.
Right.
So when you train and you want to compete, you need 20, 30 hours a week just on that, and then you add
Yes.
school, and then you add win, right? And at
Exactly.
the point, you have to think about priorities. What's my priority? My karate is not going to make me live. Karate is not going to make me have, let's say, a life that I want. Not many karatekas are rich, so it's not like, you know, to me, I didn't see it as a potential career path. So I focused on my engineering. I focused on my wife, and then now I continue. Uh, most close to 30 years now, and I like teaching. I have my own dojo. It's a virtual dojo, which is also a
Oh,
very
nice.
interesting experiment. And I train also face to face with my teacher here in the city, and just being part of the organization, helping them out, training, learning, and I'm focusing a lot on being a referee, teaching new black belts to teach. Um, I read a lot. as we discussed before the call started.
Yes, a
Um,
rich collection
and,
there.
yeah, thank you. And we study, learn, etc., and I try to. I do feel karate, martial arts in general, is a discipline of life, and that's what I'm trying to figure out, understand. Is kind of what my Substack is about, and how to become capable, how to become steady emotionally, which is something that the martial arts helped me a lot. I was a very um, how do you say this? Like somebody that just explodes very quickly. Like you, I would just get angry all the time and stuff. And karate helped me just calm
Sure.
down, relax, and see things differently. I did some BJJ for about a year. I see the Lost Creon kid just joined. Hey, thanks for
Yeah,
joining.
thank
Um,
you.
I like his Substack. It's a lot of good information. And yeah, I did judo for a couple of years. Then 2 years ago, I got a back injury, had to get back surgery. And because I couldn't train for about a year, I focused on reading and studying and writing. And that's where Substack came into my life. So that's more or less the summary of my path.
That's great. It reminds me of Bruce Lee. I read an article how he got a severe back injury, and during that period, that's where he wrote the Tao of Jeet Kune Do. That's how that
Yeah,
all came about. So much
that
like
makes sense.
yourself, you couldn't train physically, but you kept yourself mentally sharp. It's a great philosophy to have.
It's funny though, because you look at how, I train Kyokushin karate mostly, and you look at how the masters now are not competing anymore, um, but they're teaching and they're becoming more philosophical, and you start seeing books from them and their story and what they learned, and not just Kyokushin. You see it in Jiu-Jitsu, you see it in other styles of karate. I started looking at Korean books and Korean martial arts recently. Um, because of a Substacker whose name I don't remember. I'll tag it later if you want. It's you
Definitely.
start looking at, and it's maybe there's some relationship there between when you're young, you're physical, and as you grow older, the physical aspect becomes less important, and the why you're doing it becomes more important. So the more philosophical, mental aspect start being more important, and you would think that, oh, if I knew that when I was 20, if I knew that when I was 15, but you can't know because you have to go through that physical aspect of training and getting injured and fighting and doing this and doing that for you to develop that philosophy. And so it's interesting to see that those who write books are those that have a lot of experience, and not those that have little experience because they're busy getting, punching and kicking, and not they're not busy writing, sitting down and writing, right? So it's interesting perspective there.
Yes, it is. I find myself as well as I'm aging. I'm 43 now, and I no longer train the way I used to train. I still train intense on certain days, but I'm more aware of my physical limitations due to all the sports injuries that accrue throughout the years. So I could definitely relate to the older you get, the more philosophical you start becoming, the deeper the understanding you have, not only the art, but also your body as well. You start to really understand, like, okay, I can't do the 540s anymore. I can't do the same executions that I used to do when I was in my 20s.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I can't fight to the same level. Um, there's something about having just experience that makes it fun because you can be sneaky and you can be doing things that they don't expect, and you can keep a repertoire of strategies that they don't know, and you kind of teach it little by little. And
Right.
so like just this past Saturday, it was funny. We were training, and one of the younger students, well, not younger, like the lower belts, he's not young, was asking me about kicks. So I was telling him, well, low kick, you have different angles you can attack from, stuff like that. Then he
Right.
goes, yeah, kick me hard. I'm like, no, like, why? Like, there's no point. Like, and no, go for it. I want to feel what a real kick feels like. Oh, Jesus Christ. Like, it's one of those things I hate. It's what's the point? Like, it's you're going to get hurt. I'm going to feel bad. Who wins? Nobody. Like, I'm just, And he insisted throughout the class. I'm like, okay, fine, just stand there. I just went about 50%, and he couldn't walk for the rest of the class. And I was like, you asked for it, but it's stupid.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous. And we had a conversation about it later because he felt the pain. So I'm like, okay, when
right,
you go home, do this, do that, like, put some icy hot on it or whatnot. Take some aspirin or Tylenol, something that helps with the pain. And later in the afternoon, he was fine. But it was a kind of like stupid mentality of, I want to feel tough and, just kick me and
right,
show me, punch me hard because I can handle it. And it's like,
right. The
dude,
macho
like,
mentality.
yeah, it's like, okay, you don't know what you're saying. But I was like that. I did it. And I learned. I learned.
Definitely, yes. Same here. I remember one of my first classes. I was a yellow belt at the time, and these two black belt guests. I had no idea they were national champions of their countries.
Yeah.
So I'm recklessly rushing into the guy's kick, and he's being really nice. He's doing like super fast axe kicks and roundhouse kicks, but he's controlling it and he's pausing it right before they actually land.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's like when you're younger, you're fearless, and there's no, there's really no common sense.
No.
You don't acknowledge the fact that you can get seriously hurt had any of the technique come in full contact.
Do you think it's because we is that because we're becoming philosophical? Is we we got hurt for sure. I'm sure you got hurt. I mean, in fighting and training and whatnot. Um, is it because you think? Do you think it's because we have lived it and we know what pain is, that as we grow older, we don't want that. We don't want to inflict it. We don't want to feel it. And this is where kind of the mindset kind of starts shifting. Do you think that's it? Or do you think it's more just maturity in general terms?
I think it's a mixture of both. I would say the fact that you mature and you understand yourself better, and you actually understand the consequences of getting injured. Right? When you're younger, you heal a lot faster, so you take that for granted. You twist your ankle, it takes
A couple
probably
days.
a week max to heal,
Yeah.
or like a few days. And as you get older, you start seeing you sprain your ankle, a week and a half, 2 weeks, it's finally healed. So I feel that we start to become more mindful of that reality, and so we become more cautious and more aware of what we do with our body and how we treat our body, especially when you start getting careers.
True.
Like you mentioned before we were on camera, you said you didn't want to show up to certain things injured or any external signs of combat.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I can share with the audience. Once I competed, I got a knee kick to the eye, just right here. Although I had the helmet, it just under the helmet got me here, and my eye just blew up, like just big. And I show at work, it was the inflammation went down, but it was really really dark, and it went all the way down here. So they, luckily, I was just working on the phone, so no customer had to see me like this. But my boss and my colleagues were like, what happened, right? And I just had to say it was a training accident. I didn't want to say that I competed, and but that's one thing, right? You can't show up at work. I'm tech service now. I did a lot of work in sales. You can't show up with a customer, broken hand, bloody knuckles, limping because you had a kick or somebody twisted your ankle when you're grappling or whatever, and you start limping, or you're canceling a meeting. You can't work because something, some kind of accident happened during training or during competition. I know people do. I know there's some people that's
Right.
still bad, but for me, it wasn't something that I felt was professional to show up to. And I work in industry. I'm an engineer. I work with safety boots and stuff, and you can't
Right.
show up, injured. You can slip and fall and seriously get injured while you're doing those visits. So
Exactly.
there's an extra layer of let's say danger or risk, let's say, that maybe other jobs that are more office work are not. You don't have that. So um, yeah, so I had to think about stop competing because other than the fact that I didn't have time to to train,
Right.
I really get into it.
Right. So one thing I'm curious about, because I'm about to just start a family. I'm about to get married soon on September 30th. And
That's
a
congrats.
question, like a personal question. Thank you, sir. a personal question that I have is, how do you balance being a martial arts instructor, practitioner, with having a family?
Okay. I've been married for close to 20 years now. Um, my wife knew from the beginning that martial arts is part of my life. And it was clear kind of from the beginning. She didn't want to get involved. She didn't want to train. She didn't want to be in that environment. She saw me compete a few times. She went to dojo a few times, stuff like that. But she was like, I'm not going to be kind of the karate wife. Like, I'm not going to be with you every time there's an event and things like that. Fine.
Right.
It's clear. We knew it. But I told her this is an important part of what I do. It's my physical aspect for my body. One thing she said, you need to do something for the body, something for the mind, something for the heart. So this is what I do for my body. And
Right.
same thing for the mind and the heart. Karate, martial arts help a lot with that kind of stuff. But it's so how do I balance that with clear boundaries? I think it's, for example, when we have a seminar and tournament like we're going to have now in November. Usually that weekend, she knows she's not going to see me, and she knows it's. I leave when I have to leave. I come back when I come back, and I'm in that world. And unless there's an emergency, she knows that I won't be on the phone. I won't be responding. I won't be paying attention to her much. But this doesn't happen all the time. It happens once or twice a year. When we have trips, it's always a question. Okay, how much is it? Blah blah blah. Do you really want to go? And we talk about it. And if it's a trip to a fun place, like next year, I'm planning to go to a world tournament in Japan. We're planning to go, me and her and my son, and make a trip out of it. For the weekend, I'll be doing my stuff and they'll doing theirs. But we'll have 2 weeks of traveling and visiting Japan, stuff like that. We did the same thing with a tournament in Acapulco here in Mexico. She came with me. She didn't come to the event. She just stayed at the beach with my son and enjoyed herself. So there's ways to match, and it's just having clear conversation and clear boundaries. When I have class, now I like I was telling you, I'm running a virtual dojo here in my house. Actually, here
Right.
where I'm sitting right here, this is where I teach.
Oh,
And she
nice.
knows. And before I started, I told her I want to do this, and I want to do it probably on Mondays and Thursdays. And this is the schedule. This is what I'm planning. She said, okay, sounds good, whatever. And if something happens, like, you know, once she wanted me to take her to the doctors, okay, I cancel the class. I postpone the class to a different day, and I go
Right.
with her. So it's really having that clear boundaries and clear expectations on you don't message me when I'm in class unless it's an emergency, and
Emergency.
it's stuff like that. So, and it's just 2 hours twice a week. It's not like every day. And when I
Right.
work out, usually on my own, so usually in the morning. And she's I'm an early bird. She's a late owl. So I wake up early. I train. I don't really doesn't interfere with our day to day. And that's it. We found a way to just communicate. My son now is 14 years old. He trains with me, but I don't force it on him. I used to when he was a bit younger. I wanted him to train, and I thought that's going to be good for him. But after a while, I realized that you can't force a kid to do whatever you want. So
Right.
he trains whatever he wants to train. He got to a high belt so far. He's a green belt now, but he knows. I was clear with him. You're not going to get a black belt until you're 18 years old. So you still have 4 years to get there. And I have no doubt that he will. Like he likes it. It's not his
Right.
passion, but he also not in a hurry to get the next belt. And we train, and when it's school time, we're training because there's a schedule and there's a routine. Summertime, he hasn't trained once, and that's fine. He doesn't want to. He wants to be out with his friends and doing this, that. Fine, no problem. And you can do
Nice.
whatever you want. So you have to kind of understand that your kids are not going to have your passion,
Right.
and your spouse either. This
Correct.
is
Yeah.
really your world, and if they want to be in your world, that's fine. That's perfect. Bring them in. But if they don't want to, you also have to respect that as much as they have to respect you are part of that world.
Right. It's interesting because my fiance and I, she was training at my school while I was an instructor, we never ran into each other until like maybe
Oh,
8 years after I stopped teaching there.
that's
So
interesting.
she personally doesn't like sparring. She said the minute she sparred, she didn't like the way it felt. So I said, yeah, it's not for everyone. And so I
No.
understand like not everybody's gonna be into martial arts
Yeah, yeah,
because of how physical it is.
yeah. And I see that for a lot of people. Those that are lucky to that their partner is also into that world. Like part of our group, there's a couple
Right,
that train all their life together, jujitsu, karate, like you name it. They have their own dojo, they have their own training center. Now they have a kid who's 4 years old, and he's in that world, and that's them. That's
okay.
their world. That's how they are. That's their life. They live out of that dojo. They told me the other day that they are more in the dojo than at home, you know.
Oh, I can
And
imagine.
yeah, I mean, they're running a business and they're running it
Yeah,
together. I think that's different, right? I met another couple in Canada where they own the dojo. The teacher is the black belt, but the husband is the wife, but the husband is just the administrator and doesn't want to know anything about karate. He just helps her out from the admin side,
right,
uh, and he's there at the desk. He's kind of part of the world, but he's not training, and he's like, yeah, he everybody knows him. We go out, he's there, stuff like that. But he doesn't go to the training camps. He doesn't go to the trips. He doesn't. And we had that conversation. That's why I know. But he. So there's ways. There's ways to make it work.
right. Yes, I took a lot of mental notes. I appreciate that.
Sure. But let me know if you need advice. I can always share
Def-
what I
Definitely, yeah. So ultimately, like you said, it comes down a successful relationship is about communication,
Yes.
and letting them know, letting one another know the boundaries that you set.
Yes. I think the other part is something I learned from my wife is acceptance. Is accepting that the other person is the way they are, and they're not
Exactly.
going to change because you want them to. And that's a big one, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
communication is one thing, and it's important to accept. They go together. But if you
Yes.
don't, I had to accept that my son is not going to be passionate about karate. I had to accept that my wife wasn't going to be part of that world, and kind
Right.
of come to terms with that and accept it. And it's just the way it is. And that releases a lot of pressure on them
It definitely does.
that you expect them to be there. Even my son, when he's training regularly and we have seminars and stuff, he doesn't want to show up. I don't, where's your son? He doesn't want to come. That's it. He loses it. Like, he doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be there. So I had to kind of learn to accept the circumstances so that I can just let it go and just focus on what I'm doing. And I invite him all the time that we're going to have that, we're going to have this, you want to come, this and that. Recently he has, but when he was younger, he wasn't interested in a 4 hour seminar. Like imagine a kid that 8 years old, 9 years old, 4 hours standing in front of a gentleman who's 80 years old giving a class. He's not interested. It's logical.
No.
But back then I was like, no, you have to show up and you have to train and blah, blah, blah. And he would train for like half an hour and then he would go and play around in the corner. And the teacher told me, the Shihan, the master, would tell me, yeah, let him be. Oh, okay. So you hear from different people, and he told me, like, yeah, let him be. He's young. He's not going to last 4 hours like this. Ding. Like, okay. Makes sense.
Right.
So it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
Yes, because I can recall when I would teach kids, you can tell the kids that actually want to be there from the kids who do not, that the parents are forcing them to be there for the benefits or whatever
Yeah.
of martial arts. They don't try as hard as the kids who actually do want to be there.
Yeah.
You can see that right away.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I found there was one situation when one kid was trying to force my son to give him his money at
Oh
school.
wow.
An older kid. And he turned to him, he goes, no, turns around and go. And that was it. And he tells me the story after. I'm like, okay, so what gave you the confidence to? I'm like, I know I can punch him. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you see, he
Oh,
remember the
okay, that
reverse
works.
punch. He knows he can do that well.
All good. Works for the
Mhm.
both of us.
Yeah, I remember that in the book. You briefly mentioned that in the
Yeah.
book that it was part of you acknowledging that you did prepare him indeed for life with the martial arts training that you gave him, that he was able to stand up for himself.
Yeah, and a lot of talking. Maybe I didn't explain that in the book, but so I pick him up every day from school, and it's an opportunity for me to just bond with him. And my wife drops him off in the morning. So because I travel a lot for work, I traveled not so much. I use that opportunity to just be with him. And there are days we're playing and we're saying stupidities and we're like, joking around and singing and doing fun stuff and whatever. And there are days that he has more deep questions, and a few times he's asking about if I had ever punched somebody outside the dojo, if I never got hurt, if he wants to, he's thinking about competing. He's like, okay, if I compete, can I get hurt? What can happen? Stuff like that. So that anxiety, that fear of that aspect of martial arts, and we start talking and stuff. And I was telling him, and then he says like, "Oh, now I know I can defend myself." And I'm like, "Okay, like this time, let's clarify a few things, right?" And talking about the difference at his level of what karate is and what self-defense is,
Right.
and then he was curious. Okay, so how is that different? I'm like, well, one is a rule set. You're competing. You have protection because you're young. This, and that. Somebody attacks you in the street, he's not going to wait for you to put your protection on. Just to stop.
Right.
And he's not going to give you rules. He's just going to attack you. He's just going to grab you. I'm like, he's just a small kid. He's tall, but he's lean and not heavy. So anybody can pick him up. I'm like, what do you do if you're like somebody grabs you, lifts you, and go?
Right. Yeah.
And so give him like context to his age of what could happen. And then he's like, okay, let's practice. So when we come home, we did a few practice. Okay, I'm going to grab you. What are you going to do? I'm going to try this. Okay, try it. So I go and grab him, and it doesn't work, right? So, okay, so what do? You continue. You fight. You struggle, and you try to get away. And that's what and then we did a few times, and that gave him more confidence than all the classes I've given him. Like for example, just grabbing his arm and trying to drag him away.
Right.
Just sitting down on the floor is not enough.
Exactly.
I can still drag you. I can still take you. So that kind of opened his eyes to, oh, okay, there's more to it. And when I give class, I tend to work with that, the reality of violence to some extent. I've never been really, well, there's one story that I've been attacked in the streets. But I've never been a street fighter. I've never had altercations outside the dojo. I don't really lived what real violence is. But I learned from videos. I learned from other experts. I try to learn from books. I try to implement that in the class and try to show that, okay, if somebody does that, you can try this, right? And I can give you options to, it's not the solution, but it's a potential solution. And that's how I framework. That's the framework I use at class. So I did the same thing with him. And because I have him, virtual class, I don't have people with me, like they're all on the camera. But with him, I can just, okay, I grab you, what do you do? I struggle. Okay, I'm smashing you on the floor, what are you going to do? Like, just thinking about what could happen. And that with some seminars I've given on self-defense with women and stuff like that kind of triggered the book. But yeah, with my son, it was a lot of talking, a lot of giving examples, a lot of showing some videos that are not too graphic of what could happen. And it's not obviously not all in one day, like questions here, questions there. And there's another thing with kids is that you answer the question, don't elaborate too much, just get to the point. And depending on the kid, if he wants to know more, he's going to ask you more.
Yes.
And if they don't want to, they'll back down. That's good enough for me. Right? So it's the kind of thing that took months of different conversations and situations and classes. And I don't know if I don't think anybody can be fully ready for a physical confrontation in the street or self-defense for real. But the fact that he felt that he could punch the guy if he insisted, that was cool.
Yes,
that was funny.
Yeah, he knew he had that ability.
Yeah,
he knew he had that ability. It's interesting. So segueing into the book, Steady When It Counts.
Yeah,
we just finished talking about self-defense. And I really like your approach to adapting realism into self-defense scenarios. Because, like you said, in an actual self-defense scenario, nobody is 100% prepared.
No.
We can freeze up because of flight or flight,
Yeah.
or we can react very sloppily. Like all the years of training just go right out the window, and we do
Yeah.
the first thing that comes to mind for a survival mechanism, essentially.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
fact that you're pressure testing your son like that, like you said, that's a really great tool, the pressure testing component of self defense, as opposed to you grab me and I flicker on your wrist, and in real life that's not going to happen. God forbid they may pull out a knife, or they may have some friends around the corner. You don't know. That's why to me the best thing to do is to either try to de-escalate the situation if possible, or if you can't, then the very last thing is to fight.
Yeah, I think what I was trying to aim at with the book is that there's a step before de escalation, which is completely avoidance. In the sense
Exactly.
that if you show up at home every day, you are successful in self defense. You know what I mean? It's you avoided any potential situation that could result in serious injury or loss of life. And what I was trying, nobody really talks about this, and it's like kind of they kind of mention it. Be aware, Yeah, okay, but how? Like, how do you become aware? Like, it's not. There's no technique. It's like
Right.
spend your time looking around. Like, it's
Exactly.
that's not self awareness, right? Well, first awareness is what could happen, right? What are the strategies of those criminals to take advantage of you? Um, Usually, physical altercations are rare compared to road rage, compared to somebody pushing you in. It's not a criminal like somebody that got angry in the moment and pushes you in the metro or the subway. These are situations that tend to happen more often than actual aggression, from what I
Right.
from what I read. And I think a lot of what I was trying to do with the book is make people realize that violence is not always planned by a criminal. Violence can happen out of nowhere. And
Hmm.
it could happen with a person who's not violent. It's just at that moment, for whatever situation, the stress was too much on that person that they explode and do something.
Right.
And like the story I was telling that I was in the book that I was assaulted by a young cyclist, a woman,
Oh
that
yes.
completely took me off guard. I was just going to the doctor, getting my back checked, and just I opened the door from the Uber, and she was there, and boom! It wasn't like I just opened the door like crazy, Just I just opened the door, and she was there. It just bumped into her, and she fell, and then she became more crazy.
Right.
I don't think she's a bad person. I don't think she's a criminal. I don't think she's part of a gang or whatever. It's just in that moment something triggered her.
Yes.
And I don't know if she was abused when she was younger or has like lives in a difficult situation or that whatever, right? But or nothing, could be nothing. But in that
Right.
particular moment, I triggered something. But when that happened, and she started yelling at me, punching me, uh, just banging on my back. She broke my headset. Like things that are like I know that after the fact, and most likely she's going to think about it. It's like shit. I went overboard here. You know, maybe not. I don't know. But it's a lot of that happens. Road rage here in Mexico is crazy. But you talk to the same person outside their car, and they're fantastic. And
Right.
it's just, you're stuck in the car for so long in the heat with the sun hitting the car. Uh, Car's not moving. You do something that you don't think, like you're just changing lanes, and the guy thinks you're out there to get him. Start
Right.
honking. They come at you. They break your mirror. That happened to me one time. They just a car got angry with me. I don't remember what I did. The guy just drove by, had the stick, bang, and just smashed my mirror and broke it.
Wow.
Is that person a criminal? No. It's just somebody that felt that I aggravated him in that particular moment. Is it because he was high on drugs or that he was, whatever, part of a gang or whatnot. No, I don't think so. He was just a regular person, and that moment, because he's been stuck in traffic for an hour and a half, whatever I did triggered him and
Right.
made him kind of lose himself and break my window, break my mirror. It's not to say that violence doesn't exist and criminals don't exist. Of course they do. But I feel that there's that aspect of violence that nobody really talks about. And I feel that there's a lot of people that get really injured and sadly lost, maybe even lose their life for something stupid and for not being able to control their emotions and not being able to de-escalate. So that's what I'm saying. Like de-escalation doesn't come naturally.
Correct.
Somebody attacks you, you want to attack back, you want to defend. You're not there trying to appease him. Hey, hey, I'm sorry.
Definitely not. Yeah,
Nobody does that.
that's a violation.
Yeah, you're aggravating me now. So now I have to defend myself. So that was trying to get with the book. It's there's another aspect to the violence that nobody really talks about, which is just avoiding it completely, and
Right.
and finding ways and strategies and ideas and stories that I've lived to illustrate those concepts.
Right. In the book, you mentioned a scenario where you were traveling back from work late night on the subway heading home,
Yeah.
and you noticed the two gentlemen approaching you. What made that alarm go off for you? What made you say, this pattern doesn't seem right to me?
Um, the metro wagon was empty. It was me, one person, and those two guys, or something like that. And every time we had a stop, they would get closer. And they didn't get closer because there was a seat available and they wanted to sit. There were plenty of seats, you know?
Right.
So first they get closer. I'm like, okay. I get closer a little bit. Okay, that's weird. And then one of them kept on looking at me.
Ah.
And I was like, oh, okay. So slowly, grab my backpack, put it on, grab my suitcase to show that I was going to leave. But I
Right.
didn't leave. I just waited for the doors to start closing, and I slipped out. But if I waited 1 second too long, maybe they would have gotten me. And if I waited a second um, too early, maybe they would have been able to get out of the wagon at the same time as I did, and then that would have been
Exactly.
something else. But yeah, I saw them like 3 stations, maybe, or 4, that they were just getting closer and closer and closer to me for no reason whatsoever. If they wanted to talk to me, they would just come to me, right? They wouldn't do it little by
Right.
little, right? Um,
Exactly.
so it's like those kind of things, but you don't think about it. It's like, okay, this is weird behavior, and then, okay, I go, and got up. I
Yeah.
didn't think about it too much. And as I turned to get ready, they were still in there, and they were yelling through the door. I'm like, thank you very
Well, there you
much.
go. Yes, you
There you go.
avoided.
Yeah.
You avoided the ill intention. It's interesting because you reflect. As I was reading that passage, I thought to myself that these guys were behaving like apex predators, looking at like a rabbit or a
Kind of, yeah,
gazelle.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's great that you were able to spot that behavioral pattern of them inching in bit by bit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's still Mexico. Maybe I would have been like that if I was in Montreal or the States somewhere. But Mexico is still a relatively dangerous place, and
Right.
you still, when you use public transport, you still have to pay attention. You still have to pay
Right.
attention. A lot of pickpockets in Mexico. A lot of pickpockets, and you just lose your cell phone. You don't know where. You don't know when. You don't know how. You just suddenly you don't have a phone, and
Wow.
yeah, a lot of pickpockets, wallets, whatever you have in your pocket that might not be of value, that you might not think is of value. Identity theft, those are they grab your cards, your ID cards and stuff, and they start using it for other things. Like, for example, they can grab your ID card, change the picture to them, ask for a loan in the bank, and then take the money, and then you're on the hook for paying the debt.
Geez. Yeah, that's a scary one.
Yeah.
Like this, even the cell phone, because nowadays the cell phones has everything. So
Yeah.
wow, yeah, that'll be a scary scenario.
So
Like you're going
yeah,
to panic
yeah.
mode.
And you have to pay attention. You have to. Compared to when I go and visit my parents in Montreal, where my guard is definitely much lower.
Right.
It doesn't mean that it's not. I got more situation in Montreal than I got in Mexico. They got into my house. They got into my car. Uh, I got face to face a few times with different people in the bars. Um, I can count probably more stories in Montreal than situations in Mexico. Doesn't mean that Mexico is not dangerous. Doesn't mean that Montreal is dangerous. It's just
Right.
My way. And I know situations of people that, and one gentleman that we know was murdered by the cartels. We know him,
Oh my gosh, that's
and
terrible.
but at the same time, he kind of put himself in that situation, and decisions get you to good outcomes or bad outcomes. It depends, right? So
Right.
he kind of got involved in, not so much involved in drugs and whatnot, but he was trying to get a lot that he had, and started kind of arguing and kind of disputing. So what happens in Mexico, there's a law that if there's a house that's uninhabited, or a terrain that's uninhabited, and you live there for a certain amount of time, you take it, it's yours legally. Even if
Also,
you
it's
didn't, you
a
just take it.
squatter clause, right?
Yeah, squatter laws,
Yeah.
exactly. So something like that happened with his lot, and he was trying to fight it, but the squatters were part of a cartel, were part of a gang. They got
Oh my
annoyed
gosh,
with him, and bye bye.
it's terrible.
It's not random. He
No.
decided to dispute that with people he knew were dangerous. Now,
Right.
does that merit him getting killed? No, obviously. Um,
Mhm.
he was not a criminal, um, but sadly, he got involved with people that didn't care.
Right.
And at the same time, I know of a karateka that got his black belt with me, who was randomly assaulted and shot. And it happens. I mean, it's not.
Right.
And what can you do with that? I don't know. They found him, and the way his body was, he was shot in the back of his head, like execution style. And
Mm.
I'm not trying to exaggerate or make people afraid, but those kind of
No,
things happen. You hear about.
definitely.
There were a couple of Canadians that got killed in Acapulco a few years back, and it was the whole thing. And you start digging into it. They bought drugs from a drug dealer and didn't pay him,
Yes.
so they went after them.
That
It's,
that world is it's a completely different story. They play by a different set of rules. So
yeah. So one, why are you buying drugs off the street corner in Acapulco or whatever, and why didn't you pay him? You trying to scam him? Yeah, good luck. Like they're not stupid.
exactly, exactly. They have people everywhere, and they control a lot.
But these are things that can be avoided. Maybe not my friend who got executed, but he the guy that got shot, those two guys, those are things they could have. Why are you buying drugs?
Right.
You can get hammered buying alcohol in the bar, in the hotel, or whatnot. You don't need drugs. That could be avoided, right? Um,
Exactly.
him trying to fight and getting his terrain back, he lost it, man. The law kind of defends it, And I told him like you're screwed. Like there's nothing you can do legally against them, and they probably bought the judge and the lawyers and the whatnot. So you're one against 1,000. Like what are you gonna do?
Exactly. The
He
whole the
kept
whole thing.
on festering and annoying him, trying to get it. It's like, no, I'm gonna win, and blah blah blah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
who
It's
won?
terrible.
That could have been avoided. It's bad,
Yes.
it's bad. But between losing my lot or my house to losing my life, take the house. I'll go get another one. Like, I mean, it's sad that there's situations like that. You kind of have to give, um, you have to give up in a way. But
Yes.
what's your priority? Your things or your life? I feel.
Exactly.
I feel.
Exactly. No, definitely. Because so long as you're alive, it's going to take a lot of work, but you can still get that back again.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
still get that back again. You
Yeah.
cannot get a life again. Like
Yeah.
you cannot reanimate. we don't have the technology yet to bring
Yeah,
people back to life. So
yeah,
yeah, like once your life is gone, that's it.
yeah, yeah, definitely. As long as you're alive, you can keep on going. Um, and yeah, it's a bugger. It's annoying. It's it's like when they steal your wallet and you have to call and cancel all your cards and get new cards. It's an annoying part of that situation. Yeah, but you're okay,
Right.
right? And because you're annoyed, you're fine because you're alive. If you weren't alive, you wouldn't be annoyed. And so it's a
Exactly.
feeling that you're fine, right? It's okay. It's gonna pass, and then you rebuild or you continue your life, and you're fine. But it shouldn't be. Obviously, it shouldn't be. We shouldn't be in a world where we have to worry about those kind of things. Yeah, fully. But that's not the world we live in. So it's not a part of accepting, right? It's part of accepting that we are in such a world, and you kind of have to accept that there's bad people, and there's people that will try to get you and try to hurt you, try to scam you, try to like they tried to scam my mother-in-law. We were in a hotel, my wife and I, my son. We went to a weekend in Veracruz, and they were calling her to say that we had bought an insurance with them, and
Hmm.
that she needed to deposit the money to them. Like a real insurance, you can charge on your credit card. You don't need to pay cash. So she got duped to deposit about it was 7,000, 8,000 pesos, which is about $300, $400, more or less. It's not a big amount of money, but she got
Right.
stressed because the guy was pushing her, and she never thought about calling us to see what's going on. That night, we called her to see how she's going, blah blah blah, and she goes, "Oh yeah, did you get the money for the insurance? What money? What insurance?" Like, yeah, this guy called me that you were like purchasing an insurance. Yeah, okay, but if we purchase an insurance, you would know because it's a family thing. And why would we need cash? So like,
Hmm.
so we did everything, and she fought back, and she got her money back.
Oh,
And
that's wonderful.
yeah, because we went to the cops, we went to the bank, and this, and that, we got the money back, and we got the phone number of the guy. The guy called again to try to get more money out of her. She fought with him
Wow.
on the phone, and the guy's like, "Well, I'm the angel Michael, and I'm here to like heal the world." Like just some crazy shit. Like it was. What are you saying? Like it. The guy was insane, and he thought that
Wow.
what he was doing was purging the world. So he was like, I had to be paid for that.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
insane.
Yeah,
Insane.
it's interesting. It's interesting because
Yeah.
it's almost as if he was kind of expecting. Maybe he was working on an insanity plea, so he
No,
was
I don't
trying
know.
to. Yeah,
I don't think he
that's what
went
I.
that far,
Maybe he was
but
legitimately crazy.
yeah.
You know.
But we were lucky we were able to get our money back. Um, not that, um, luckily, I have a good job. That money wasn't going to really bother us. But
Right.
I know that for a different family, in different circumstances, that would have been a problem, right? Uh,
Yes.
and I think it's the statistics say 85% of Mexicans are under the level of poverty. So,
Right.
and they win about 5,000 pesos a month. So that's 250, 350 bucks a month. So you take
Right.
7,000, you take 8,000, that's 2 months of salary. That's 2 months
Right.
of your expenses. So they can scam people like this, and they will suffer, and they will have
Definitely.
to have a hard time recovering for something like that. Definitely.
Right. And I can only imagine the the mental toll it takes on people too after they get scammed by somebody. Not only the financial strain, but just mentally, you don't trust like you used to trust.
It's not only that, it's the stress that she went through throughout the day because the guy kept on calling, insisting on when she would deposit the money.
Right.
And he would have to go from bank to bank and get enough money to pay. So she went through a whole ordeal for a day that we had no idea about. She could
Right.
have called us at any moment and asked, "What's going on? What are you guys doing?" why are they calling me about insurance? She never thought about doing that. The guy was really good. Like he kept on
Yeah.
insisting. And then when he tried to call again the next day, now we were here, um, she went to battle with him on the phone. And at the same time, me and my wife went with her to the bank and tried to get our money back and justify and explain and this and that. They, oh, well, you need a police statement. So we went into police and got a statement, and we went back, and we were able to get that money back. But man, that was something. That was a few days of intense stress for us.
Yes, I could only imagine that kind of stress that it came with, and
Yeah,
the fact that he pressured her so much, like you said, that played a massive role in the fact that she actually went along with it.
yeah. And I don't understand why. I still don't understand why she did. She doesn't understand why she did. Like she don't know. I have never in my mind I would have thought about questioning what he was saying.
Hmm. Yeah, it was probably the level of pressure he applied to her strategically, just
And
overwhelmed her thoughts.
yeah, probably what he was saying was also interesting. What did he tell you for you to believe what he was saying? Like, what
Right.
was he saying? Like, was he that convincing? She's like, yeah, it was like, like as if I was talking to the bank. It was like, you would hear is that you would hear other phones in the back and other people talking as if it was a call center and this and that. And the guy was speaking very professionally. He wasn't threatening. He wasn't, you know, he felt like when you call the bank or you call the company, and he's behaving like a normal employee. And you would never think the guy was a scammer.
Wow.
So
That's something.
they got to that level of professionalism. Like even, I don't know if you heard, but the how's it called again when they kind of kidnap your computer. They put a virus in your computer,
Oh, the
and
ransomware.
yes, the samurai. So you call. It's a business. You call. It's a calling center. It's like, what's the number? This and that. Okay, you have to deposit that much for us to unlock it, and blah blah blah. It's a whole business. Like it's a whole thing, and they're
Right.
organized and they know what they're doing. They know what they're saying, and they're polite and they're professional, and it's a business. It's insane. They're
Yeah.
scammers, but they behave like a business.
It's organized crime, right? Organized crime at its
Big
finest.
time. Big time.
Yes.
So going back to the book,
Yes.
the book.
Going back to the book.
My intention with the book is really, like I said, to kind of shed a light of what's before even situational awareness. It's really about trying to find ways to avoid and not get into those situations to begin with. What if you notice a situation, like I saw a video the other day on Instagram, where they turn the wiper of your car so that when you stop to put it back in place, they kidnap you. So that particular girl in the video, what she did was just she drove off and she fixed the wiper after leaving the parking lot, which
Smart
was
shit.
smart. But that means that there's somebody that was aware that this was happening
Right.
and she was prepared for it. That's preparation. This is another part of what the book is about. It's preparation. She was prepared. She knew what to do. She's like, oh, I'm not going to stop and fix my wiper now. It's not raining, whatever. I'm going to wait. So,
Exactly.
and another thing I say a lot is sometimes you have to wait.
Yes.
The waiting part sometimes gives you opportunities to react properly, for you to think, for you to process what the situation is going to be, and then take action. But if you're, oh damn it, my wiper, and then you step down, whatever, and then you're out, right? They take you,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's the kind of thing scary. It's scary stuff. But if you're not aware of the situations, you might not think about it. If you don't talk about it, like for the whole situation with, let's say you're in a crowd, right? Um, I try to always be the shield between my wife, my kid, and the crowd. But what happens? We're trying to leave the crowd and we get lost. So we put agreements. Okay, if you don't see us, go to the lamppost. Stay there. If you cannot get there, find a cop. If you can't find a cop, find a family. Like, not find an adult, find a family.
Family. Yes. Another
Yeah.
family. That's smart.
But those are the kind of like agreements we get into. If I tell my wife and she's with my kid, I'm like, if you don't see me, you just go home. I'll catch up. I'll contact you, whatever. Okay.
Right.
Just those kind of rules, those kind of, not rules, but kind of agreements, discussions. And it's not like I sit down with everybody and okay, now you guys, it's like just before the event, right?
Right.
We went to a concert with my son. He was 5 years old. We went to see, I forgot their name. Anyway, so we were there, and I was telling her, okay, if we get separated for whatever reason, as we walk in or out, just meet me at the car. Don't wait for me. Just continue. I can see you. I'm taller than most Mexicans, so I can see from above. I can probably see you, and I just can't get to you. Just get to the car. Just don't worry about me. Just get to the car. Just worry about him. And vice versa. If I'm with a kid and she's alone, I'll try to find you, but if the priority is a kid. So I'm going to take him and get to the car and wait for you at the car. And you do the same. So it's that kind of agreement, but on the spot. It's not like I have a 3 hour powwow about strategy and whatever. It's just the moment.
Right.
Okay, before we leave, okay, if we get separated, just meet me at the car. That's the agreement. And okay, go. And things like that. It's like it's simple because I don't know if you did that, but when you go to the mall and everybody wants to go to different stores, what do you do?
Right.
Okay, we'll meet in half an hour. We meet here, or we'll meet at the
Yeah.
elevator. We do that already, right?
Yes.
So it's take that to the next step. It's okay. We get separated. Just meet here. Okay, there. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't let anybody take you away. Don't let anybody tell you they're gonna help you. Just stay there. You know.
Yes. You remind me of my childhood memory. Growing up, we used to go every year to see the Rockefeller Christmas tree lighting. And
Nice.
one year, my older brother, I think he was 10 years old at the time, we were taking the subway back home, and the door closed on him. So he was on the platform, and everybody else was riding the train. I just remember him frantically smashing on the subway car. However, my mother told him before we left that if we separate, just take the 2 line going uptown. And he was able to find his way back. Thankfully.
Yeah. Simple instructions usually work better than the whole, schema of strategy and this and that. And if this, like just simple instructions. You do this, and I'll find you somehow. You know.
Right.
So I think that's what I was trying to get to with that book. I think nobody really talks about it. I'm planning to write a book on de-escalation because nobody really talks about it. What's de-escalation? How do you de-escalate? Are there techniques? Are there strategies? So I'm researching that now. I'm working on that, and hopefully sometime next year I'll have that book out. But now that the last Current is on here, he might be interested in that. I'm also thinking about writing a book about teaching martial arts,
Right.
teaching and teaching yourself, just both ways. Like you're teaching and you're training on your own, or you're teaching students, the role of the students, the role of the teacher, stuff like that, strategies, techniques, things like that. This is something that also I'm thinking about writing about. But yeah, that was kind of the goal of that book, is kind of like the pre violence, like just get prepared, and this is where train, adapt, endure came from. It's like you practice and you train and you prepare, and that allows you to continue and live your life, or the enduring part, right? So it's all kind of matches up together, but it's yeah, that's what I was trying to aim at with that book.
Nice. At the end of the book, you mentioned an acronym SPACE.
Yes.
So if you could just explain real quick exactly what that is for the people who are not familiar with that acronym, because it's something that you created.
Yeah, I did. Let me grab
It's
it.
an ingenious acronym.
Thank you. So the space framework I thought about is about self-defense. The idea was to why space? Because if you have space, you have time to react. And something actually I got from Jiu-Jitsu. The one that controls the fight, controls the distance, controls the fight.
Right.
That's something I learned from Jiu-Jitsu. Oddly enough, that's not something that we talk about in karate, but it's something I learned from Jiu-Jitsu. More space you have, more time you have to react, more time you have to think and make a decision. That's why I use that acronym specifically, and I try to make it match. So S for space is scanning, so looking around, right, seeing where you're at. Position is your location, where you're at, where the exit of the door is. So the scanning is trying to identify the situation, identify if there's a danger, there's an event, there's a situation. P is where you're at, who you're with, right? And then assess. It's like, okay, what do I do? Do I stay? Do I leave? Do I drop everything I do and just run? Or do I just take a few steps back? Or what do I do? Right? It's assessing, kind of looking at different ideas or plans, and then commit is to take a decision and go with it. So it's not just thinking about alternatives, but as soon as you look at your alternatives, you take a decision on which alternatives you're taking, and you act on it. So it could be escaping, it could be just creating some distance between you and the situation, it could be fighting back, it could be whatever. But you commit, you take the decision, and you do it. And then E, which is the last one, is to exit. So I got this from Ian Abernathy, is a karate master.
Right.
The way he teaches is that you fight enough for you to leave. Like, you don't stay there in battle for 3 hours. Like, you incapacitate enough for you to then leave. So I thought it was important to say, now you have to leave. Whatever you did, you leave. You have to leave the situation. So it could be something as simple as being in the grocery store and you see the person in front of you fighting with the cashier, or arguing with the person in between you. So what do? You could, okay, this is happening. I'm here. Can I leave? Can I escape? There's more people behind me. Okay. So from there, what alternatives do I have? I could just stay here. I could get involved and try to split them apart. I could just leave my shit and leave my stuff completely and just go back to the day. Or I can leave and go to another cashier. I could go and call a security guard. I could call the manager. There's a bunch of stuff, right? And then you take a decision. What are you going to do? Now, depending on what you want to do, and this is a discussion I had with a friend, is that she would want to call a security guard. Go, okay, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Then do it. This is the commit part.
Right.
Go and call the security guard. But there's a consequence with doing that. Now, you're getting dragged into the situation. Do you want to be dragged in the situation? Yes or no? Now, you can do it anonymously. You can call the cops. You can go to your car and call the cops so they don't know it's you, right? There's different ways of doing that. And then after you did that, you call the cops, you call security guard to manage the situation. You don't stay there. You leave.
That's
you go back to your life. Like, you don't stay there and see what happens and see if your action was good and people are going to recognize you for doing a good job. Like,
if you don't know the person.
Yeah. So that's kind of what space is about. Just create the space. So create the distance. Stay away from the situation.
Nice. Much like what you did in that subway scenario.
Yeah. Yeah.
You scanned and ultimately you were able to exit.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much, Alan, for your time, and I really appreciate this discussion. It was robust. I learned a lot from you, and yeah, I hope we could do this again.
Oh, for sure. And first, I'd like to thank you very much for buying the book. I'm very appreciative of that. Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
It was never meant to be kind of like a bestseller or whatever, but a few people got it and they liked it, and I'm glad you did. And for those who are listening and watching, I hope you get a copy, and they're available on Amazon, and I hope you get something out of it. Thank you so much for inviting me and being your first guest. I'm truly honored. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Alan. Wonderful rest of your day. And I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I was going to say that I hope we can do that again. It was so much fun. It was good.
Oh, definitely.
Next time I'm going to interview you.
All right. Deal.
That sounds good. All right.
Sounds good. All right, Alan. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.
Cheers.